Good morning. It's Wednesday and today is art day. We're going to read a book about painting today and then we're going to do some painting. And I have some ideas about painting if you don't have any paints at home. So let's read the story and then we'll talk about it. Sky Color by Peter H. Reynolds. I love so many of the books. I always say these are my favorite books, but it's true, and it's the reason I have these books at home. These aren't books from our classroom. These are books that I have at home. I read them myself. I plan lessons around them. I read them to my grandchildren when they come because they are some of my favorite books. So you're lucky that I had so many of my favorite books at home, and I'm lucky too because I really love them. All right, Sky Color by Peter Reynolds. Look at how he's done this beautiful painting here. One of the ways that I think that you could do that painting is you could take a paintbrush and you could hold it, you could fill it with paint and just touch it and hold it onto the paper and let the paint seep around the paintbrush. And then you could take another color and put it close to it and let it seep out around it and mix just a little. See how the yellow has mixed a little bit with the red and made the orange here? And see how the blue has turned to green up here when it mixes with the yellow? That's a really, that takes a little patience to paint like that because you're not sweeping it and you're not pushing it. You know how much Mrs. Haley hates it when you push it. But you're just letting it soak out of the paintbrush onto the paper. I think that's a really kind of a cool idea that you might try if you have paints. And remember, I'm going to talk about some ideas if you don't have paints at home. Sky Color. Marisol was an artist. She loved to draw and paint, and she even had her very own art gallery. I have an art gallery that looks just like that in my house. People that I love do paintings for me all the time, and I hang them up. And as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to show you a few of them, all right? Not all of her art hung in a gallery. Much of it she shared with the world. She painted posters to share ideas she believed in, because she believes in saving the whales, doesn't she? Saving the oceans. At school, Marisol was famous for her creative clothes, her box of art supplies, and her belief that everybody was an artist. Do you think that's true? Do you think Marisol thinks everybody is an artist? Do you think that's true? I think that's true. Yes, Marisol was an artist through and through. So when her teacher told the class they were going to paint a mural for the library, Marisol couldn't wait to begin. A mural is a big painting. Sometimes it takes up a whole wall or the whole side of a building. You can see them sometimes if you go into cities that have them. So here's Marisol's. Does that look like Miss Helms? Kind of a little bit, huh? Yep. When she teaches you. The classroom buzzed with the sound of brainstorming. The students talked and sketched. Together they made a great big drawing. Then they marched to the library. I'll paint a fish. I'll paint one too. I'll paint the ocean. Marisol shouted, I will paint the sky. Marisol wants to paint the sky. I am so interested to see what Marisol does with her sky. Marisol rummaged. Rummage means to poke around and really search for something, moving things as you search. Marisol rummaged through the box of paint, but couldn't find any blue. How will she paint the sky without blue? That's what she says. How am I going to paint the sky without any blue? I do not know. I have a sense Marisol will figure it out. The bell rang. It was time to put their brushes down for the day. As she climbed aboard the bus, Marisol kept wondering. All the way home, she stared out the window. The sun lowered close to the horizon. This is going to give us an idea. Do you see any blue in that sky? I think Marisol doesn't see any either. Is that the answer to her question? Maybe so. Later at home, Marisol watched as the day turned into night. Challenge for you, my friends. You watch tonight to see. What do the colors of the sky do as it changes from day to night? Do they stay blue? Do they go straight from blue to black? Is it ever black? Have a look and see. That night, Marisol settled into a deep dream. She drifted through a sky swirling with colors. The colors mixed, making too many to count. Oh my. It reminds me of when we made our tie-dye t-shirts for our color concert. Remember that? I remember very well. In the morning, Marisol stood waiting for the bus in the rain. The sky was not blue. She smiled. So does Marisol need blue for her sky? Not really. At school, Marisol raced to the library. She grabbed a dish and began adding color. That one, this one. She swirled the brush to make an altogether new color. That color must be called Marisol. Marisol then began painting on the wall. A boy asked, "What color is that?" "That," Marisol said, "that is sky color." Oh dear, look at sky color according to Marisol. Do you think that's quite beautiful? I think that's quite beautiful. There's blue in the ocean though, or a little bit of green. All right. So your job today is to paint a picture of the sky. I don't care if you put something in front of it. I don't care if it's just the sky. And I told you I would give you some ideas about how to paint if you don't have a paintbrush. So here's your ideas. I have quite a few of them actually. And then you can probably come up with some ideas that I can't think of. One idea is ask mom or dad if they have any leftover Easter egg dye or food coloring in the pantry. Those, usually you can have red, blue, and yellow, and usually green if it's food coloring. And those will make all of the other colors, won't they? You'll have to make them very strong. Don't dilute them too much. And if you don't have a paintbrush, maybe a spoon. I'm not a spoon. A spoon might work. It might be kind of cool, actually. You could sort of spread it with a spoon. I don't know. Try it. But maybe a sponge, or maybe a Q-tip from the bathroom, or maybe the corner of a paper towel or a washcloth, as long as you don't mind if the washcloth doesn't come clean. So those are some ideas. Another idea is if you have a paintbrush but no paint, you could, and you have, maybe you have sidewalk chalk, you could grind your sidewalk chalk up and put water on it, and then you could use that to paint with. You can just use water. If all you have is a paintbrush and water, you can still go out to the sidewalk and you can paint pictures with just water. There'll only be one color, but remember what we did yesterday when we drew, or earlier today when we drew the pictures of the sky using the doodle marks? You can use a paintbrush and water and make those same kind of lines to show what's happening in the sky instead of color. So those are some ideas for you to use in art today to paint your sky. And remember, if you paint with just water, you're going to have to be ready to take that picture as soon as you're done, because what's going to happen? Think about it. If I paint on the sidewalk and it's a sunny day, which tomorrow promises to be, what's going to happen to your picture? I'm not going to tell you. If you don't know, go out and paint some water on the sidewalk tomorrow and watch and see, and challenge question, can you tell me what happens? All right, I love you and I cannot wait to see your paintings.